Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of AndrewsFootball.com. Welcome to my NFL Draft Review. Now, instead of making a video that's about 2 to 3 hours long, I cut it down into sections of 8. So I'm going to have 8 separate videos broken down by NFL division. Now, if you're new to my channel, I just got to ask you one simple question. Do you like talking football? Because if you do, you're in the right place. Ultimately, I'm making these videos to start a discussion with you. I want to hear what you think here. I'm offering my opinion. Give me a comment below and let me know what you're thinking. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? What did I fuck up on? Don't forget, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, there's a button right around here. See it, little subscribe button. Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. Now, let's start the show. All right, we got the NFC North, and I'm going to start this off on a sour note. There's only 2 teams that I gave a D to, and that's the lowest grade I gave in the draft. I didn't give an F or a D minus, but I gave 2 Ds out, and this is one of them. The Green Bay Packers. And it was funny because my very first mock draft I released, I had Green Bay taking a quarterback at 30, and I got a lot of feedback. Oh, no, there's no way Green Bay is going to take a quarterback. Rodgers is signed. It was funny. I thought he was only signed for another 2 years. Boy, the contract's set up. He's actually in contract. I think it's like 2023 or 2024. And I thought he was done after 2022. So, I had somebody actually send me all this information. So I was like, well, I'm giving you a scenario because I think it's a lot more likely. Here's the thing. Taking a quarterback in the first round, I didn't have a problem with that. Trading up to take Jordan Love, who's a prospect at best, that's not smart. I mean, you're in the NFC Championship game. You gotten beaten twice by the 49ers during the season, first in the regular season, then in the playoffs, and you got beat badly, just annihilated. So you trade up in the first round for a quarterback who's going to be your starter in 2022, 2023. Okay, I'm not a fan of that, but then you go back in the second round and you reach up for A.J. Dillon, a player who I don't like in Green Bay. They're wanting to use their running back as a receiver. It's something he wasn't used. This is a limited player. I would have loved him in rounds 3 or 4, late in the second for this team. It's not only a reach, it's not a good fit. Now, if you're wanting a guy, for first and second down, sure, but that's not the way, at least. Now, keep in mind, you got a new coach here in Green Bay, so maybe he's trying to change some things up, but I thought this was a bad fit and not good value at all. Then in the third round, you needed a quarterback. This was a guy that it's an undersized tight end, is an H-back. The NFL Network said he was a 6th round selection, so you get him in the third round. Again, you reached. I just did a video before I did this one on the NFC South that talked about Adam Troutman, who was picked, I think, 10 picks later. That would have been a great fit in Green Bay. This is really bad. I will say this. You had a 5th round pick, 3 6th round picks, and 2 7th round picks, and you got some really good prospects in the later rounds. So a couple of these guys are going to make the team. A couple of these guys are going to contribute, but for a team that was in the NFC Championship game, you needed immediate help. You didn't get it. This draft is confusing. You overreached. And here's the thing. If you had this draft last year when you were a 6-win team, I was probably giving you, a C+, maybe a B-. But for a team coming off an NFC Championship, this is a really bad draft. I gave the Detroit Lions a C+, and going into this draft, I kept telling everybody they're not going to take Okudah. They're not going to take Okudah. And, of course, Detroit takes Okudah. And the reason why I don't really like this pick is it's not that I don't like the player. The Detroit Lions play the same type of defense that Miami's going to play, that New England plays. And what it is that you want your corners out on the island playing man defense. This defense does not even exist in the college ranks. It's something completely different. It's something very complicated. And asking a rookie to play in this type of defense as a corner day one as your number 1 corner is a lot to ask. And for a team that needs immediate results from the rookies, I'm not sure you're going to get that. Now, if Okudah plays at a Pro Bowl level, then of course this draft deserves an A. But I thought that it was really a bad selection. According to the rumor mill, Bob Quinn, the GM, and Matt Patricia, the head coach, completely saw differently on this pick. Patricia didn't want him, Quinn did. That's not good. So it's really hard for me to sign off on this pick, even though I do like that player. I don't like him at 3, and I don't like him for this type of defense. But the next 2 picks were absolutely gold. I was public, and I said I wanted Swift in Kansas City at 32. That was my dream. So when Chiefs picked a running back at 32, I was really excited, and then I saw it wasn't Swift, and I was like, Detroit hit a home run here. This is the guy who's going to be Matthew Stafford's best friend, because he's a guy who can take a screen pass and score a touchdown every single time he touches the ball. It wouldn't surprise me if he actually ends up being the Detroit Lions' leading wide receiver. He's got excellent hands, can run good routes. He's also powerful enough that he can run in between the tackles. That's not his forte. And the good thing is with Detroit, they don't need him to do that. Detroit can actually have 2 different running backs because he's so versatile. He can fit in a variety of different ways. I loved Swift for Detroit. Then Okora, I'm sorry, I'm butchering the name. I thought he could have gone in the 2nd round and been a great fit for Detroit, possibly a starter. You get him in the 3rd round. That's great value. So your next 2 picks are guys that probably are going to start. Great picks. And then you use your next 2 picks on offensive linemen. I like that. You needed some help on the offensive line. You get it in the draft. That's a good move for the Detroit Lions. All these picks are really good. The 5th rounder, Huntley out of New Mexico State, is a really intriguing pick. He does a lot of things that Swift does, but he can contribute on special teams. So you get a backup for Swift, and you also get somebody who can help you on special teams. So he's definitely not going to be a starter, but this is a guy who's going to help you. So the Detroit Lions did some really great things out of the draft. If you took Okudah out of this draft, I would probably give this draft a B, but I'm not sure Okudah can fit in as a day 1 starter in this type of defense. I mean, he is going to be, but he needs to produce. So that's why I'm giving this a C+. I also gave Chicago a C+, and this does count partly for the Khalil Mack trade. Remember, they gave up 2 number 1s and a 3rd. So this is the last draft pick for the Khalil Mack trade. So you get in this draft, partially Khalil Mack. I wasn't really sure how to grade that out, but that's the reason why he didn't have a 1st round pick, was part of the Khalil Mack trade. So you got to think about that when you're factoring in the draft grade here. So here's the thing. The first, they had 2 2nd round picks, and their first 2 picks in the draft I really loved. Cole Kmet, the number 1 tight end in the draft. 43 was a little rich, but this is a player that you need. He'll start. I'm just not sure when he'll start. It could be this year. It could be next year. But it's just a matter of time before he becomes a starter. Massive upside. Jalen Johnson at 50 is a great fit. This is a guy who could be your day 1 starter at corner. Massive upside. Great athlete. He will contribute this year. Just not sure if he starts. But this is a future starter. And you get him at 50. So that's a great pick. They didn't pick again until round 5. But they had 3 picks in the 5th round. Normally, I wouldn't give 5th round picks too much of a acknowledgement in a draft grade, but Mooney, the last pick in the 5th round, this is a guy who ran, I think it was 4.38, smaller receiver who's going to help on special teams, could be your opening day kick returner, punt returner, and then the other 2 players, Gitson and Vildor. All 3 of these guys are small school players. If they played in a Power 5 conference, these guys would go in rounds somewhere between 2 and 4 because they were very productive. They tested well. The only issue is they played against lesser competition, but they were highly productive and tested really well. It wouldn't surprise me if all 3 of these 5th round picks contribute in 2020. You may even get a starter or 2. Mooney will start in special teams. He's not a guy that they're going to use on offense so much, but I really like what they did. So you went ahead and out of the players you got some really good players, at least 2 starters, maybe more. And keep in mind, you also got Khalil Mack. So C+ is the final grade here. And obvious draft the NFC North Draft winners is the Minnesota Vikings. I gave them an A+. They deserve an A just for the Diggs trade alone. This is a player you want to move on from. You got way more than what he really deserved, especially since earlier in the day Hopkins was traded for what compared to this trade compensation was peanuts. With that pick, you end up getting Justin Jefferson out of LSU. This is a player who a lot of people thought was the fourth best receiver in the draft. I actually think Jefferson will have better statistical production than Diggs this year. He'll be a day one starter, and the Vikings are going to love this guy. Then what you do with your 25th pick is you trade down from 25 to 31. You get some extra draft picks, and you still get a day one starter, Jeff Gladney. He's a Zimmer guy. It would not surprise me if he goes to several Pro Bowls. He'll be a day one starter. Zimmer's going to love this kid. So you get 2 day one starters, and you also trade down, get some extra draft picks. And then what you did with those draft picks was really good. Ursa Cleveland late in the second round. He's great value. You could have traded up in the second round and got him, and it still would have been good. Where you got him in the second round was great, and he's a great scheme fit. Dantzler is a draft crush of mine. I thought he should have gone in the second round to get him in the third. He had a bad 40 time. He ran a horrible 40 time, plays a lot better. It would not surprise me if Gladney and Dantzler are sometime this year become starters, both as rookie corners, and you still have a great secondary. These are really good players. Getting him in the third round was brilliant. Great move by the Minnesota Vikings. James Lynch in round 4. This is a Zimmer guy. He will produce. Troy Dye is a linebacker. Great scheme fit. If you could have chose a team that he should go to, it would probably be the Minnesota Vikings. Should have gone to rounds 2 or 3. You get him in the 4th round. Great scheme, great fit. They had 15 picks total. But what I really like is not only the amount of draft picks, but a lot of these guys are great scheme fits. A lot of these guys are Minnesota Vikings players, and a lot of these guys should not have been available when the Vikings picked them. You have great scheme fits plus great great draft value. The Minnesota Vikings just hit a home run. I could argue that the Minnesota Vikings had the best NFL draft of any team. A+. Great job, Vikings. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Let me know what your opinion is. Drop a comment below. I'm offering you what my opinion is, but I want to know what you think. Ultimately, this video was created so I can have a conversation with you. I got my opinion now. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Share this video with your friends. And hey, I'll see you next time.